So, hello, Alexandra, and welcome to the Cloud Square podcast. I'm Shashank. I'm a product designer and host for the session. So, I would like to start off with asking if you could share a little bit about yourself and how has your journey been so far.
Well, thanks for first. Thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoy being here. About myself, I'm from Portugal. However, I've been living in a few countries in Europe. So, in a design perspective, I have worked combining design studios with corporations, enterprises. I would say design people in Denmark, Ericsson, Designit, Trustly, Electrolux, the North Alliance, London University during my traineeship. So I would say uh, traveling experience between Portugal, Denmark, Sweden, also a little passage in the Netherlands, Ukraine. So it was interesting to merge and to experience all those cultures. Learning that Europe has a rich cultural, uh, many perspectives, and what works in one country in a specific city doesn't work to another. So it was inspiring for me, also, not only as a designer, but as a human. And Yeah, I think it crafted me the way how I look things on sustainability, human-centered thinking, design ethics. Yeah, but we can speak about that later.
Yeah, but like I would like to start off with the origin journey. Like, how did you start in the design industry and how did you come from Portugal and to explore all these different countries? What was your starting point?
I would say curiosity combined with creativity. I would say that, and enjoying exploring. And I would say that reflects in my newsletter that I later came up with, which is the Modern Explorer. So design it came because that's a super interesting question because I would like during my curiosity and being open to how things combine, discovering, exploring things like pieces, making sense of the world. Yeah. And in a way that I would say design combines how we put into the world things that add value, but on the way around in a way that it has your point of view, no matter which is if it's beautiful and useful and whatever it is, it's a combination, I would say, between evidence, creativity, perception, and also the exploration. And that I see in my identity, not only as a profession, but also as a way of being, as an approach to life. And the curiosity also helped me um, traveling. And I must say that my parents, they are Portuguese originally, but they lived a lot of time in Mozambique. And I think that helped me out also to see the world. And they helped me in an early young age to travel across a few countries during the summertime. I think so. It was also that instigated me.
Like growing up, you were always a design inclined person or a visually inclined person, or you also like came to it later on to you that you were into the design field.
I would say one thing intertwined with another at a certain point in my life, because in early age, yes, it was that instinct, that curiosity, traveling, and inspired me. It inspired me when I was young to see the world, many perspectives, and then returning home to Portugal. But at a certain point in my teenage and later in my 20s, I started, to, of course, to find my place in the world and also professionally. And that's when the pieces started to make sense, came together, and I felt at home with design, and I decided to explore that part in me, so that things came naturally. And there was another time that I combined, which was in my adult age, with enjoying cultures and designing. Yeah.
And while you were traveling to different countries, you were traveling for work. How did you choose those countries?
It was, I would say, yeah, I was traveling and studying, and at the same time spending some time. So it was a combination between my professional life, my personal life, my interests. So it came like that, the countries
Did you also
that I
face any
spent
challenges
mostly.
moving from one place to another as well?
Yes, but in a good way, because the beginning things are challenging, of course. They are so different depending the country, of course, but things are so different. The way how I used to live in Portugal and things that I missed, I compare metaphorically, like when you are at sea and you at the beginning have waves coming in, and you need to cross those waves to reach to a flat area. And that's what I felt when I started to live outside in a different country than Portugal. I found many challenges, culture wise, but also professionally, how people work, we used to work, comparing back in Portugal, which is natural, the process of growth. And then once I settled me in and got used to slowly, I felt that I had not only one home, but perhaps many others.
Many homes.
And that was interesting to see how people think and the common universal values and your unique identity as a Portuguese or as a Swede or as a Danish or whatever. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
can you also share a little bit about your experience with that were your early life challenges that still like continue to shape your thinking of product and design?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in design wise, I would say it is. It happened to be not the briefing. It's not the actual problem to me that I notice. It's more which are exactly the layers beneath them. Um, Let me explain. It's I mean, you got the brief, you have the brief. What I realized, but you need to ask the right questions. I ended up with that. I mean, understanding the client, the user, the organization, how to connect all the dots. Um, that changed everything with me. And then the brief, it's a realization or not, or it's something that it's evolving because sometimes the brief that the stakeholders share could not match the reality for the users.
Yeah.
And then we need to reach to a common ground. And that's where the growth happens to all of us. And that was something that I detected as a pattern. Yes.
So what
Yeah.
were the kind of lessons that you had, well, that you would have done better now?
Um, the lessons that I learned is that it's not only important executing as a designer. It's especially nowadays with the AI, but we can talk that later. I would say having in mind a strategic innovation business mindset, also with curiosity. I would say it's one of the most underrated keys as a designer these days, because that separates the designers who only execute than the ones that think and execute. If I'm letting you understand myself. Yes. So this was one of the lessons that I learned, one of the most important lessons, and also the part of the brief sometimes doesn't match.
So
Yeah.
in your daily workflow, how do you generally balance like design and creativity along with business thinking and design systems? So like structured along with creative thinking.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a super timely question. We live in a world that it's a lot of speed, a lot of tech, um, a lot of noise, a lot of notifications, and at the same time, we need space to reflect about what it seems the most right solution as a designer, as a professional. So I would say having I mean, I see it metaphorically as a dance, but having that rhythm between that working hands on your solutions to be, of course, strategic wise, zooming out, zooming in. But on the other hand, having a space where you can leave that bubble and think, reflect. I call it silence, but it could be translated in many ways. We are all different. So I would say it's that rhythm between. Um, it's challenging during these days, yes, but that's when the systems comes in our routines, no matter if it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. That's what the systems in place, the right systems work with you, having that rhythm to think, enjoy, and at the same time put your hands on tons of inspiration. If you see that, not only in design, if you see that balance, also with writers like Murakami, he runs a lot and then he writes.
Yeah.
So it works also with professionals who want to build thoughtful, purposeful solutions, amplifying what we aim to add value in life. I mean, controlling that, yes, not letting, I would say, the speed hack our minds, but being us controlling what we want to amplify as designers.
So
Yeah,
you
and no
think like
matter, yeah,
having a
well,
clear head in order to enter the state of flow while working,
yes,
basically.
exactly that. Yeah, yeah.
So then tell me about your experience with, I think you have also worked for Ericsson, right? Uh, how
Yes.
did you land that role and what was your experience working with them?
Hmm. Yeah, I learned a lot saying that about dealing with stakeholders from many countries, from the US, Canada, also from Asia Pacific, Europe, and how to. The most challenging part to me it was to make them all aligned. On the other hand, the brief again. I mean, the business stakeholders who create the brief, of course, they have business KPIs and achievements, but however, doesn't match with what the users need. Business to business specifically. So I learned a lot about that process and the uncomfortable conversations. That's where I learned the most between aligning that process between end users and stakeholders and leading with ambiguity. Yes, because it's a big corporation,
Yeah.
And things that they don't move as fast as, for example, in design studios. Which it's a smaller team and it's quicker. The decisions are quicker. At Ericsson, it's a large corporation, which I totally understand, and there are procedures to follow in and to, yeah, to make them in a way that it feels that we are all aware of things. Yeah, and I learned about telco and about a lot of radio systems, which I had a totally different way of seeing the things and how the physical and the digital intertwine. It was quite challenging for me also because we don't have the prototypes, the radio systems, yeah, in the place. So that learning curve also was rich for me. Yeah, to learn Otherwise, I wouldn't have a chance to see how things work globally. Yeah, in the communications.
Yeah, Ericsson is personally very interesting for me because I did my bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering. So all
Oh, cool.
that study about signals and systems, microprocessors and everything was like right up my alley. Like I was using to learn and work with all those things before I came to design. So that's why I wanted to know from your how did you land that job in the first place?
Mm. Oh, that job, it was it first I had an experience at hardware systems, Ericsson hardware systems, and my second experience was a digital systems. That came later. The first opportunity, it was to a consulting. Um, I was at Semcon in Sweden, and in that time I was transitioning from Electrolux to Ericsson, and it came toward that as a consulting business. I mean, that's a good thing if you are in early stages. It's always good. It opens you a lot of doors, a lot of contacts. Being in a consulting where the managers could connect with different big companies, and that's how it happened. And the second opportunity, it was on LinkedIn, to be honest. Okay. It was really on LinkedIn through a message, because the design world is small. I used to say that, and we know A, B, or C, and even the other person who doesn't know us know the others that we know, and so it was naturally how it came. It was at LinkedIn, and things moved fast, and then I joined the team. Yes. So it was like a network of people that you were connected with. Yes. So then, yes. Now let's come from the past to the present. What are you doing right now, and what is your perspective on the current situation of design market that you're observing? Mm-hmm. Right now, my focus is also on product design for sure, and in strategic, being strategic, and how to combine those things into one. I'm also focused on AI, emerging technologies, and how to combine that into my work. So let's say in a clear way, I'm learning as much as possible about how AI can technically helping me in the solutions, in the design solutions, and how can I add the depth, like as a human, as a designer, and that applies in many, in many ways that I envision. I mean, I open up a business that I see as something. Maybe it's crazy, but I see it as a retirement uh, way of enjoying. I see it. I see the retirement as something that I could create, build on my own, in a long-term vision, preparing the ground right now. I know that there are still a lot of ages, yes, still to come, but I'd like to do something, yes. Mm-hmm. Not, like being super quiet and just limited in certain things, like, okay, now I ended up my job, my work, there's something missing. What am I going to do? No, I see something like a continuation. Mm-hmm. So and something that I could. How long has it been with your agency? Um, I opened, it was a few months ago that I opened, but this is a process that, as I'm trying to tell you, has a long-term thinking process. Okay. So I see it more like something to focus in later ages in my life, and right now fully focusing in full time. It was great to have a sabbatical last year to think, like I said, in a certain way, to go, like leaving the bubble and come back again with things clear thinking. about myself, what I want to do in upcoming years, and also long term. Um, it's an income stream that I see. I would say that it's connected to retirement or early retirement, whatever you want to call. It's connecting with the many income streams that we have the chance nowadays to apply our talents, our skills. In a way that you feel more independent and not connected to an identity and only one identity. But yeah, that is a long-term project that I'm thinking. And right now, focusing on the present, it's full time that I really see myself in applying my contribution. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. That's a
it's a
great plan.
parallel
That's a
thinking,
great
and
plan.
mhm,
What do you think about the
yeah.
current situation of the design market now, with all these AI tools coming in, disrupting the market?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see two things quickly after when you are telling me that question. It's there are companies. I mean, we are working faster than a few years back, than 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We are working faster thanks to AI, to emerging technologies. However, I mean, the profit is always that there are those companies who the profit is to save budget costs and trying to minimize sources as best as possible. So the design market, I would say it's saturated in a way that if we think about, consider about those companies and the approach, yes, that's it. But on the other way around, it implies that the designer is a bit more of a generalist. Generalist, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But there is also, I see companies who invest in the strategy, combining the emerging technologies, but also the strategy. And I think in that way, I see designers who are more of being into specific certain areas, no matter if it's healthcare, if it's like combining the physical with the digital experiences. Another topic of that I see it's the fintech.
Mhm.
So no matter if you want to specialize in using your strategic skills, there is also a field and opportunity. So I see two sides. Like one side, like having the AI to sum up, having the AI that contributes to get faster things faster, and then yeah, communicating the it needs to be generalist, but on the other way around, if like is executing. But if you would like to choose a strategic point of view, there is places on being more specific. Yeah, not only executing, but also strategizing and thinking.
Mhm. But
Like it's
like,
more depth. So it's up to what people, designers wants to decide. Yeah.
how do you see the impact of so many AI tools coming into the market right now? Like every other day, we keep hearing about something new is launched, and it's such a bigger umbrella. How do you figure out which tools to pick and which tools to use? How do you go about doing that?
Mm. Is the question for young designers or for
Mostly, but
like
like we should
senior?
figure out which tools are more prominent and what are actually being used in the industry rather than just throwing them out there.
Mhm. Well, as a young designer, I would suggest being specific, starting being specific in areas that you see that what you enjoy and what it gets profit converge.
Mhm.
What's the middle term? And then you can choose which are the AI tools that you want to invest and and see yourself how to help those enterprises, corporations.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, once you have more experience and being specific, you can browse your field with other, like crossing other areas.
Mhm.
Um, because if I think um, I mean, in a senior way, you will also need to gain trust for cross-functional teams like developers, engineers, business stakeholders. So you need to gain trust to understand their scope, and then you can broaden your perspectives. But as a beginner, being specific and choose that match where you enjoy most and what it gets profit, the middle ground, and then helps the companies.
How do you pick your design tools, like, and how do you keep yourself updated about AI in general?
Mm-hmm. Well, in general, well, I love to. I mean, at the beginning of the year, each year, I've been doing that for a few years back. I like to look around about not only on Wired magazine but in other magazines that I choose, that I pick up, and then have an overlook, read, understand um, which are the major trends. But not, I mean, not following all of them, of course, otherwise I would feel overwhelmed. But pick to myself one or two that matches with my timeless way of seeing things. And then that's when I cross which are the tools with AI that I use. For example, on Notion, I like the plugins because they help me out to force. They help me out in brainstorming quicker. And no matter if it's my schedule or my thinking, whatever it is, on Figma, I like also the new AI plugin that they introduced. Always that speeds up the process, but in a way that I keep my thinking, but it's a mirror that I could ask questions and continue my work. Claude, I also like Claude early, very early, just to unbreak my ice. Yes, yeah.
But from your experience, like you have so much of experience working in this design field, what do you think will be the long-term impact of AI tools like coming into the market right now? Do you think like design roles will evolve as well over time? Because like when I open LinkedIn, I see that designers are being killed. Like Figma is being killed by Claude. Claude is like disrupting the market, and design roles will not exist at all, and those kind of stuff.
Mm. Yeah, there is always that part. It always in every age in history there is always that part. This thing is not going to exist, and this and that. But yeah, I would say you've reminded me now about. There is an element in Chinese medicine which is the wood element, and the wood element, it's pretty much. The creativity, the energy in flow, but in a way with purpose, and also the adaptability. And why I bring the wood energy, it's because nowadays, with so many things related with uncertainty and so many things about tools, new tools, and also enterprises who offer startup business who offer tools like it, for example, Lovable started and then it grew immensely and it's really valuable. So we need to be updated, of course, but again, it's important to be specific, be very good in one or another, a couple of tools that you really see yourself to add value to the companies, and it's really emerging. But try to not be split all over the place because things will move and things will change. So it's in that balance that, as long as it's sustainable for you as a designer, that you are adaptable in a way that you can smoothly jump in from the present to something that is emerging. So it's in that adaptability and using your creativity to be adaptable, strategic wise also, and being hands on again in selecting one or another tool which is contributing to the company. Yeah.
So then, in this current turbulent times of the market, what do you think, like a young designer who's entering the market in such a time, how should they position themselves for to have a good career in this field? And like you have also been taking mentorships, right? So, what kind of mistakes do you observe people making these days?
These days, for a young designer, um, I see, I see a much more complex world that 20 years or 15 years ago. So I would encourage education and practice that leads in how to deal yourself with uncertainty and how to be creative, uh, resilient, creative, adaptable in that sense. Be specific once you start, but don't forget the strategic point of view. But at the beginning, be specific and network with as much as possible with people that you see yourself in the medium term. Seeing yourself that you can work, develop, grow, and share, contribute. Yeah, as a young designers, yes. But you can ask me more questions about that because that helps me out much more.
What kind of mistakes do you observe these designers, like, because you take these mentorship sessions, right? You must be observing some of the trends, some of the things that they do wrong.
I would say the fast, not being as fast as the culture implies you to make things, because otherwise you lose the track, you lose yourself. It's important to stop even for short seconds, minutes, whatever. Seconds it's too less, but even for a short amount of time, because it's I mean, if it's not only what you are designing for, perhaps you considered exactly which is the direction that you want to move. Which I understand because there are a lot of forces coming in from many different places, areas, people on your side. But you learn, of course, that you learn with those experiences. But try to not do the same output. If you learned, if you think that you could improve and there is room for improvement, always try to improve. Being curious, being open, but being centered. Yes, not going with the flow. It's not because someone it says to put a city button on the right side that you should do. You should do perhaps thinking the why. The why is pretty much it's very important. Yeah, or yeah, I would encourage that young designers to ask why a lot and think twice about the fast.
So
And more on the purpose.
basically, you're saying that design thinking is the most important thing over everything.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so then
Design thinking, human-centered design. Yeah.
I have an interesting question for you. You came from Portugal. You've been to so many different countries. What made you choose Sweden?
Yeah. Sweden Thanks for asking. Sweden, I remember back in those times, in those years, Portugal, I was living in Lisbon. It was 16 years ago that the story started. And in that time, I listened to a conference from a guy from Ivrea in an institute in Italy.
Okay.
And he mentioned the word interaction design. And I thought, this is it. This is it. Because in that time,
Well, put it
when I
up.
was in Lisbon, yeah, when I was in Lisbon, I mean, things were starting, but it was like, or is it too, um, like, I mean, design coming from arts or programming to engineering, but there was no middle ground. And I really enjoyed when, I mean, in that time there was the sensors starting to appearing, Arduino, combining the textiles, I mean, the physical with the computational materials. And I thought, this is super interesting. And then I saw Copenhagen Institute of Interaction Design and Sweden, the Interactive Institute, and I love design, Scandinavian design and minimalism, and I really wanted to discover to the yeah. Those were my main. Honestly, it was my main perspective to that was encouraged me to go. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because generally what we see people do is move from a colder place to a hotter place, and you did the reverse. You moved from the hotter place to the colder climate.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That was one of my main challenges, the cold. Maybe not the cold that much, the
The
darkness.
dark,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the winter.
Yeah, so
Yes, yes,
it's
something that I had to deal a lot of years.
it's the same thing I experienced because India is so much hot, and when you move to Germany, it's totally cold, and winters are like
Yeah.
massively cold.
Which part do you come? Is it the south
It's
or
north of
center or
India,
north? North.
and we have a desert.
Okay, I thought it. Say it again.
We
The
have a desert nearby, so it's a desert state.
okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. I was, yeah, totally envisioning in a different way. I thought it was the mountains and colder,
No,
but not that
it's
much.
40 degrees outside.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting, you know, because I mean, I took a lot of years to get used to the dark, which I mean, I can't stay. I need at least a few weeks of December, like Christmas time, New Year's Eve, to go to Portugal and enjoy some sun and then go back to work. But I mean, the cold, since I've been living in the north since 15 years ago, I think when I go to Portugal in the summer, it's still warm for me now, but it was back in those years when I go here 15 years ago, it was too cold. Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting to see the adaptation in humans. And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then thank you so much for the session, Alexandra, and it was a pleasure to host you. I hope you had a good time as well.
Yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure. Really, really cool speaking with you. We
Thanks a
catch up
lot.
later. Thank you. Enjoy your day.